comics. He is a legend. Come on out. We got another legend coming to the stage. We love you, John. We got another legend coming to the stage. Peter Murrieta, Emmy Award-winning executive producer, winners of Wizards of Waverly Place, and so many more. And this panel is going to be moderated by, you've seen her before, the wonderful Mariana de Silva from El Cine. Give it up for Mariana.
Hello.
Let's go.
Wow, did you guys miss me? I'm back again. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here and coming back. This panel is really special to me because we have Peter Murrieta, who's an Emmy-winning writer,
what?
producer.
I didn't know you won an Emmy. Two, bro.
Two Emmys, sorry. Yes,
Don't be bragging
two
like
Emmys.
that on me.
Oh, and he's been the showrunner of series like Mr. Iglesias and Wizards of Waverly Place. And he is currently working on Mike Schur's Fields of Dreams, as well as he is the director in residency at the Sidney Poitier New Film School, as well as working on his Universal deal. But he's also, yes. But
She's doing it. Look, she's doing it. He's lost.
There you go.
He's lost.
And you know John Leguizamo from movies like The Pest, Romeo and Juliet, Disney's Encanto, just to name a few. But both of these men sitting up here have comics that they have written. So we have the Phenom X new series by John Leguizamo, as well as Rafael Garcia Henchman by Peter Murrieta. So one of the things I most admire about these guys is that they're both creators. They have worked in film, television, they've released books, one-man shows. I want to ask you guys, what made you want to get into the medium of graphic novels?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah,
go ahead,
Peter,
go ahead,
please go first.
I feel like I've spent 20 years doing television, pitching television, been really lucky to work in it and make some awesome shows. But I think John would probably agree with me, it's not as easy to get Latin shows over the top. And so occasionally I have an idea that I can't get someone to buy, and I'm like, I want that story out there, and I'm gonna make it happen any way I can. So that's what the origin of Henchman was. It was my boys going to see Marvel and DC movies and saying, where are the Mexicans at? And so I wrote this story about,
Well, I agree with Peter, because I created Phenom X because there weren't enough Latinx superheroes in comic books or superhero movies, and yet we are superheroes everywhere.
Every day.
Half of the Major League Baseball league is Latinx.
Yes.
Half the Mets are Latinx. Half the Dodgers are Latinx.
Yeah.
Half the MMA are Latinx. So I was like, come on, we're superheroes everywhere. Why aren't we in comic books? So that's why I created Phenom X.
Same, right? Same.
And John, did I hear that you covered your bathroom with comics, like rip-outs? Did you cut them? What did you do? How did it go?
I know y'all gonna hate me because I took some really old classic comic books and I thought I was preserving them, and I opened them up carefully and I pasted them on my bathroom wall, and it was on MTV Cribs in the 90s, but I sold the house, so I don't have the comics anymore. I know it's a bad story. Thanks a lot for throwing me under the bus.
I'm sorry I had to say it. I wondered if there was a storyline you followed or if it was just random.
Random.
Okay, well, what were some of the comics you grew up, that inspired you and you grew up reading? This was Zorro.
Lone Ranger,
Zorro, Batman, Wolverine. I was just looking for people that were outsiders trying to get in.
Yeah.
Anything like that I could vibe with.
Yeah, for me it was X-Men. I loved X-Men because they were mutants and they were minorities.
Yeah.
And they weren't accepted, so it was something I could relate to. And obviously Spider-Man, every kid.
Spider-Man.
Because you always feel like that teenager that doesn't fit in, that you're powerless, but you know you're special somewhere inside, if only the world would know.
Yeah, I think that's what is really interesting about comics that relates, I think, so much with different communities and minority communities too, is just that it's self-discovery, it's self-acceptance, it's not belonging, it's not ni de aquí ni de allá, right? It's you're not from here. Oh, I love you, thank you. You're not from here, and you're not. When you're home, you're too American. When you're here, you're too Latin. So it's like, where do I belong?
And all those books that we talk about are books we had to imprint ourselves on. We had to go like, those are mutants. I get it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think what we're doing now is we're saying we're it.
Yeah, you have, as a kid, because Latin people are the least represented in children's picture books, which is really sad because we're the largest population across America in public schools. And it starts even when you're that young that you're not seeing yourself.
Right.
And you want to see yourself as Harold in the purple crayon. Even though little boy's white, you want to see him a little browner. You want to.
But then you figure it out. Like, it's weird. It's like a weird mutant power because, like, I felt the same way. And then I would find something like a Grover picture book, and I was like, that cat's like my Tio. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And so you put yourself in these stories because there aren't any around.
Right.
Yeah.
But how great would it be if they were around?
I know, right?
I mean, where your kids could see themselves looking like themselves. Like we just did Encanto, the Disney movie. And it's all Latinx, and it's the whole color spectrum of Latin people, from the lightest to the darkest, from the straightest, beautiful Native American black hair to the curliest, tightest curls. I mean, it's all there.
And in Phenom X, we follow Max Gomez. I want you to share a little bit about his backstory.
Well, I created Max Gomez because where I grew up in New York City, Jackson Heights and LES and my kids, there was a plant. I'm not going to say what kind of plant it was, but it was giving out particulates and toxins, and everybody in the projects there had asthma and lung issues, and my kids have asthma because of that. And we tried to close the plant and we couldn't, but then I thought, because they dump so much stuff in people of color and black communities and Latin communities, what if instead of it hurting us, it made us immune, it gave us a superpower, and all of a sudden we could defeat the enemies at large. So that's how Max Gomez and his community, they all got a superpower. And he's for good, but not everybody who got the power is for good. So he has to fight against those in his community who are for evil.
That's awesome. That's what we need.
Thank you.
And then in Rafael Garcia Henchman, he's a new kind of hero. Can you tell us